Ultra-processed foods, think potato chips, donuts, pizza, hot dogs, and milkshakes, they're regularly in the news. Not only are they deemed to be unhealthy, there's also the contention that they are addictive, meaning that they generate such a craving that people are unable to abstain. The addiction is not in the same category as addiction to opiates that trigger serious physical symptoms if they are given up. The theory is that consuming ultra-processed foods causes a degree of pleasure that people just do not want to give up. That pleasure in turn is thought to be the result of increased levels of dopamine, often termed the pleasure chemical in the brain. Indeed, when rats are allowed to drink sugar water, dopamine levels in the brain increase the same way as when they are allowed to self-administer cocaine. But of course, humans are not giant rats. How does one then determine whether ultra-processed foods cause an increase in dopamine in human brains? Positron emission tomography, known as a PET scan, allows a peek into the functioning of the brain, including levels of dopamine present. The technique relies on raclopride, a drug that when administered binds to the same receptors as dopamine and competes with it. Raclopride can be made radioactive by incorporating an atom of carbon-11 in its structure, and as this decays, it releases positrons that then combine with electrons in a process that release gamma rays. These rays are picked up by a detector that then feeds the data into a computer to determine the extent to which a dose of raclopride is bound to a receptor. When dopamine levels are high, less raclopride binds because the receptors are occupied by dopamine. When dopamine levels are low, more raclopride binds. A PET scan can therefore provide a visible image of the amount of dopamine present in the brain. Dr. Kevin Hall, one of the world's leading researchers in nutrition, carried out such an experiment with 50 adults who were given a commercial milkshake containing numerous additives that classified it as an ultra-processed food. There was no increase in dopamine levels. Understandably, reporters wanted to interview Dr. Hall about the study, but the higher-ups at the National Institutes of Health, where he works, refused to allow him to do so. He was told to answer questions in writing, which Dr. Hall claims were edited to downplay the study's significance because it did not mesh with Health and Human Resources Secretary Robert F. Kennedy's view about addiction to processed foods. Kennedy has zero expertise in nutrition. Dr. Hall was outraged with such censorship and quit his position at NIH. I hope he comes to Canada. That for today is our Cup of Joe.